Our next guest is a man who needs no introduction at any racetrack across North America. If you've ever watched him drive champions like Donato Hanover or Rainbow Blue, you know he brought unmatched drama and ice cold composure to every turn. He gave us the iconic victory wave and earned a reputation as harness racing's ultimate miracle man. Though he has traded the bright lights of the racetrack for the peace and quiet of the Montana wilderness, his legacy in the sport remains timeless. Welcome to the show, Hall of Famer, Rockin' Ron
outside.
Pierce.
So the battle is on with 3/16 to go. Queen Serene on the inside. Passionate Glide trying to slingshot by, and these two are slugging it out toe to toe. It's Passionate Glide. Pierce waves bye-bye, and Passionate Glide will do it. Queen Serene back in second. Passionate Glide, a filly for the ages, takes the filly fraternity in 153.
Well, I appreciate you coming on here.
My pleasure. Yeah, my pleasure.
What's life for Ron Pierce right now? Retired life, another page.
I got it pretty good. I'm loving life here in Montana. This place it's like right up my alley. Like, I mean, this is what I have out my living room window. You know, just can you see those mountains there?
Yeah, what mountains are they?
Those are they're the big belts. I live down in the canyon, blue ribbon trout fishing right down the end of my lane, and great view. So even when it's nasty out, you know, I still have a good view.
Yeah.
I live between Great Falls and Helena, like almost right in the middle of those two places, two towns, and they have pretty much everything I need when I need to run to town. So, but the fishing and hunting is unbelievable in this state. And the hiking, there's all kinds of things for me to do out here. I really have it good.
I'm intrigued by this Montana life. You know, I visited last year, first time for 2.5, 3 weeks. I got an extended stay by these ranch owners.
Good.
Asked me to stay a little longer, but I fell in love with that. The temperature. What's the climate like out there where you're at? Like right now, it's very hot in the Midwest.
Here today, it's probably about 65, 68. But 3 days ago, it was over 110, and it was like so thick with smoke, you couldn't even see that mountain. But we've been really lucky. We've had like 2 real very smoky weeks from the fires out in Oregon and Washington. And there's a few in Montana too, but those fires in Oregon and Washington have just like made it kind of miserable, to tell you the truth, this year.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
And the elevation where you're at, what's it, about 7,000 or 8,000 feet?
no, I'm at like 3,600. Yeah, but I can go 20 minutes up the road and be in the Rocky Mountains, and you know they're 7, 8, 10,000 feet.
Yeah, we was talking yesterday. So what do you do out there, and kind of what led you out to Montana? You know, everybody in the horse racing game followed Ron Pierce, or I did.
Yeah.
All the years, and then you're out there in Montana.
Well,
so what do you do?
I came through here in '84 with my wife. We were racing in Southern California, and they didn't race from, I guess it was the end of October till February out there at the time. So I would just go on vacation somewhere, and it was always in the mountains with an F-150 Ford pickup, and I had a shell on the back, and we just go from place to place camping until it was time to start racing again. And I passed through here, and I'm looking at this country, and I said, this is where I'm going to retire. Man, I love this place, you know. It was up on the front there. And so this is when I decided to retire in 15. This is where I came. I traveled around a couple years with the travel trailer. and a F-250, and then it was time to kind of just settle down.
Yeah. Now you said your family, after you was out there, you said your family kind of moved out there and kind of started creating their family or sowing some roots out there.
Yeah, my little sister was in the Air Force at Great Falls, and she wound up having a couple babies, and my mom would come out from the West Coast and help her with the babies when they were born. And then my mom liked it so much and enjoyed the people out here so much that she just moved out here. And then my dad followed her out, and so they were living here too. So over the years, I'd be racing on back at the Meadowlands there. I'd fly out for Christmas, Thanksgiving, or just, come out now and then. And the more I came out, the more I wanted to come back. So, so when I finally had the chance, I did. And then my dad died, so I wanted to come out and be closer to Mom, since she was kind of by herself by then. And that's how I wound up here. But I kind of always knew after I seen the place for the first time that this is where I was going to wind up.
Just kind of giving the people that's viewing the episode, when we were talking, and I can relate to this, but you said where you're located right now, where you end up, the little town or village, it's in between these two bigger cities.
Right.
And you said you just hate going to town.
Yeah, that's the worst part of my week. Or every 10 days, I'll probably go in and pick up groceries and what I need, and try to make sure I pick up everything that I do need while I'm there. So I have it. But yeah, but like the biggest problem I got out here is like, what am I going to do today? Like today, shall I take the dog, train him? He's a bird dog. Shall we go work with him, or shall we go to the lake? Shall we fish, or shall we mine? There's so many different options, for things for me to do out here. It's the place is not for everybody. You know what I mean? But for somebody who likes the outdoors and loves Mother Nature, this would be right up their alley. I got a garden up here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a garden on the hill, so I got plenty of fresh veggies this time of year. I got a mule in the field. He gets me up into the mountains, or he'll get me anywhere I want to go pretty much. I got a quarter horse colt that I haven't did much with, that I got to start up here pretty soon. So there's plenty to do. The camping is great as long as you don't get caught in bad weather. And I just it's night and day from the lifestyle I led on the East Coast. My kids are raised.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Being in Montana, it's really what I found. Try to relate this to the viewers. It's like the movie, maybe like the movie. Not movie, but the series Madison that's on right now in Paramount. Times 10. You really are away from society on a daily basis, and until you go to town.
Right.
So it's really peace and tranquility, would you say?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's very peaceful out here. You get off the road, get off the roads about, just 1/8 of a mile, and you're on your own there. I like it. I can still get around pretty good in the mountains. So
yeah. So with the fishing and hunting, you do, by the conversation I had with you, you do a lot of both. It's not a little bit. So you mentioned your mule. What's the mule's name?
That's Monk.
Monk.
Monk, my
so
mule.
Monk gets you around.
Yeah, he can get you back in there wherever you want to go. He's like a billy goat.
And
Very sure.
you're better off to have a mule than a horse up in the mountains.
I think so. They're so much smarter than a horse. And like I was telling you, like horses, they could see where they put their front feet down. They don't watch your back feet. The mules, they know exactly where they're going to put their back feet, or all four. You know what I mean? Like they could pick their
Yeah.
1 2 spots a lot easier than a horse could, and they're more sure-footed. So you don't have to worry about them getting in trouble. You know what I mean? Like they're less prone to fall off the ledge than the horse would be. So I feel really, it took me a while to get the confidence up in this mule to where I could just give him his head and let him pick his way through this bad spots. But that's what I do when I come to a bad spot. I'll just give him his head and let him find his own way through. I think all I
Yeah.
do, if I try to steer him through, I think what I do is just confuse him. You know what I mean? So he's better off and I'm better off if I just let him, give him his head and let him get me through it.
So when you decide to go up into the mountains, you set up camp and you may go hunting, and you'll be there. Will you be there for a few days, or what are you hunting, and what type of wildlife will you come across? Predators or others?
Yeah. It just depends on the hunt I want to do. Like if I want to go back into the wilderness and spike it, man, I just load up the mule and truck and trailer and we'll go back up in there and camp. But we're usually hunting when we go back up in places like that, the elk. But you're liable to see you're going to see bears, you're going to see deer, you're going to see maybe a wolf or two or a pack. You don't see the lions, but you know they're there. The mountain lions, they're pretty thick out here too. You'll see. Last time I went up there, I seen a billy goat, one of them. Those goats, they're
The mountain goat?
yeah, that's really cool. And here at my house, you see sheep, those Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep. I got them right here at my house. In my house here, I have the white-tailed, the sheep, and lots of predators, and lots of mule deer. More mule deer than anything. But I have some people up behind me a ways have seen elk before, but I haven't seen them down here yet. They're up the road like a few miles, but I haven't seen them right here. Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I took it back. There's a ridge. I'll take that back. There's a ridge. I'll show you out this other window where I seen 6 elk a couple years ago, but I just don't see them very often. See that ridge up there? Can you see that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, I've seen some elk up there before, but not. And I see sheep over there all the time, but I just don't see that many elk. Not as many as you'd think. So,
Yeah.
And then up behind me to the north, I got a neighbor that sees elk up there now and then, but I haven't seen them.
How do you deal with the bears, being that you hunt and you're out, and what's been your experience? Any close calls, and what do you do to avoid that?
Yeah, like you just got to be real careful. You got to pay attention. Like, if you see a fresh bear track, go the other direction. Grizzly, anyway. Go the other direction, or if you can't go the other direction, you make noise, let them know you're there. You smell more than you see. You know what I mean? You'll smell more bears than you see because they're pretty stinky. You just, when you're in if you're getting some really fresh sign, then you just I just leave the area most of the time, unless I'm shooting down to the camp or whatever, unless I can't get out of there. But I've been chased out of so many drainages here on the eastern front, the Rocky Mountains. I wish I was up on top. I could show you what they look like. They're beautiful. But the moose, I'm sorry, the wolves and the bears over there are thick. and if they're around, the elk leave. You know,
Yeah.
and you go out, leave one drainage to go into another to avoid the bears, and you'll find more bears. There's way too many of those bears, but it's just something we got to live with right now. As long as we have these woke liberals running the show. I mean, they're trying to
protecting.
Yeah, these idiots that live in the cities that call the shots as far as managing the game out here goes. I'm telling you, everybody's about had enough of them. They have no clue what the people out are going through right now. I mean, there's families up on the front that won't let their kids play in the yard because that a bear might come through.
Yeah, the way it kind of works with bears, the older bears run the young bears off of out of an area. They got to come down low. The young ones, they grow up, and they're the ones that are killing and taking livestock and whatever else they want, I guess, right?
Yeah, they're the ones that are good. The older bears are pretty smart. They'll avoid humans at all costs, but the younger bears, they don't know, and they're kind of desperate. And I didn't see it, but down the road or north of me, I guess about 6 miles, a big old boar. That's on the east side of these Missouri River here. Big old boar was up there, and he chased the younger boar. The younger boar weighed 400 pounds. He got hit on the highway as he was running across, trying to get away from the older boar. And he weighed 400 pounds, and they say this older boar is like twice as big as him. And that happened. And he's been running the show over there on Sheep Creek. And he was chasing that younger boar out. The younger boar was such a hurry to get out of there. He ran right in front of a pickup, and pickup hit him square, pushed the front axles into the up under the driver's seat of the pickup.
Wow.
Yeah.
That 400-pound bear is a big bear.
Yeah, but they said the old boar is twice as big. I haven't seen it, but the cowboys live up there, and they run cattle up there. They've seen them quite a bit.
The bear that you was telling me that you ran across on one of your trails when you had Mom with you, how big was he what would you estimate that one to be, and how close was he?
I was on one side of a creek. He was closer than being on a 2-lane road. It was, there was probably, when he come down off the bank, there was only probably 18, 20 feet between us. That's the one that chased my dog back. He was after my dog, and he didn't know I was there. And my dog ran down the hill and across the creek. And I'm thinking to myself, this dog finally started to listen to me. Because when he took off, I started calling him, and then he came back 100. And I'm thinking that when he's running back to me, I'm thinking he's finally starting to listen to me. This is good. And then here's this big old bear on his ass. And I was like, duh. Like, what do I do now? So I had a big pistol here, and I had my bear spray out, and the bear stood up, and he's giving me one of these. And I told myself I'm going to have to shoot him if he comes back down and starts coming towards me, And I didn't want to because he was so beautiful. He was just gorgeous. But luckily for me, when he came back down, he went the other direction. But it was like, I was like dumbfounded. I was like, duh, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Like the movie Jaws. You know what I mean? That feeling you get.
Yeah.
But
I didn't experience that out there when I was there, and I didn't have no desire to see that.
Yeah, you don't want
that close.
Yeah, you could just stay away from them bears. You're better off, because you never know what they're going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Another thing Another thing we were talking about is when you're hunting, and whether it's cold weather or hot weather, you hang up your food, or your kill, so predators can't get it. But if a bear shows up, you said something about there's a law. You don't argue with the bear.
No, you got to let them take your meat. It's never happened to me, but there was one guy up there on the front a couple of years ago. He killed 3 different elks, and the bear got all 3 of them. And some hunters say when if you're shooting a rifle, they say the bears are so used to it, they'll come towards the shot. You know what I mean? They hear a shot, they'll come towards it because they think there's a dead elk or a dead deer on the ground, and then they just take it. But
yeah,
yeah,
it's illegal. You said it's illegal to argue with the bear.
Yeah, you just got to leave them alone, get away from them, which is a smart thing to do too, because you don't want to get yourself tore up.
Yeah. Rather let them have the meat or the kill than switch off to fighting you for it, I guess.
That'd be kind of hard to do. It hasn't happened to me yet, like I said, but I think I might have a hard time saying, "Okay, Barry, you keep my meat." Because I like eating elk, and
yeah,
and you got to work to get them. It's not like you just walk out and shoot an elk. You got to. Sometimes it takes weeks or months.
Yeah,
get the shot, because I use recurves. The longbows are recurves. When I hunt, so it's not like it's not easy to nail them. You got to work at it,
right?
Do everything just right.
And the ranchers out there, they have to deal with the bears when they show up, and there's a lot of penalties and repercussions or fines that go along if you do shoot a bear for taking your livestock or anything.
Yeah, a sheep farmer up on the other side of Shoto a couple of years ago, he got fined $100,000. There was a grizzly out killing a sheep in the field, so he shot the bear, called Fish and Game, and they fined him $100,000 for shooting that bear, and all he was doing was protecting the sheep. And then I don't know what the follow up was, but I understood they wanted to give him jail time too.
Wow.
So
interesting.
Yeah. If a lot of the ranchers, they just shoot, shovel, and shut up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shoot, shovel, and shut up. That sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, and if there's collar on the bear or the wolf or whatever, they'll just stick it on a train or something, and it'll wind up in Chicago.
Yeah.
So,
or throw it in the back of somebody's truck.
Right.
So when you're not hunting and camping, you do a little fishing.
Oh yeah.
Or I should say a lot of fishing, it sounds like. And the fishing's pretty abundant up there, you were telling me.
Yeah. There's always trout to catch. The Missouri River goes like right along the bottom of that mountain. There's big trout there, but then, I got a boat, and there's a lake up the road that is really good. You can get kokanee in there. You get all the trout you want, salmon or pike, walleye, and I was going to go out after this pike. I was going to go up to the lake today, take a hike to this old mine site, and then on the way back this evening, I was going to fish for the pike. They got a 35-pounder up there, last 48-inch 35-pounder up there the other day.
So do you ever catch any of the salmon? Have you ever had any of the salmon from up there?
The kokanee is really good. Yeah, you got to go down deep. Like yesterday, day before yesterday, they were at 55 feet. So you just gotta go down deep to get them. With downriggers this time of year.
Yeah.
few months ago, they were like at 15, 20 feet where you didn't have to use the downriggers. But now they went down deeper.
And then there's a place for you to catch some good catfish if you want to catfish also, right?
Yeah, down north of Great Falls on the Missouri River, you go out of town a little ways, you'll catch all the catfish you want, big ones. 20, 30 pounders are very common. And I guess they get a lot bigger than that. But
yeah, that's enough fish to last a little while. So this time of year, it's Montana's pretty nice. How do you deal with the winter time out there? And what's that climate and temperature like?
It's nasty, man. It'd be like racing in Chicago or Detroit or something, or Windsor. But it's a different cold. Like out there, you guys got that damp, cold weather with the wind. It doesn't get as damp here, but it's still cold. So I got a suit I got from the Air Force that I don't even need long underwear to use it. It's good for like 20 degrees below zero, and that's without anything on underneath it. That we're uncomfortable. Yeah, it's you just have to get used to that nasty weather. But
so do you have to plan your winter and your trips to town a little differently in the wintertime?
Well, you don't want to go if there's a lot of snow or ice on the road. Me, I don't. Since I don't have to, I just like to. If there's a bad storm coming, you just make sure you have everything you need before it comes, so you could sit around for a few days till it goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just kind of you got to make a list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you get to town, you try to get everything on your list, so that way when you get back, have everything you need. But it's not like I live out in the boonies. You know what I mean? I got everything I need here. Excellent.
Yeah.
TV works good. And I got a pellet stove here in the winter that keeps this place nice and toasty, and then propane furnace too. So,
do you have to deal with any predators in the wintertime trying to find food and coming up?
This friggin' coyote that was pretty bold here. I had to shoot him. He killed two of my cats. But there's been neighbors. I've had a mountain lion right out here, and I think I had one right below my porch last winter. It sounded like it. I didn't see him, but it sounded like it. But I've seen a mountain lion out here a couple of times now, a young one. They'll know your dogs and your cats if they have a chance. But that old mule, he'll kill him. I think when I first moved into this place with him, there was a lot more predators. But I think over the years, he scared them all out of here. He doesn't like them, not one bit.
The mule will attack those predators, right?
Yeah. And I think because he's got his attitude, he's got a pretty bad attitude, that mule sometimes. And I think because he didn't like them, I think they stay away.
What kind of boat do you have? Did you say?
A 16-foot Klamath with a 20 horsepower Suzuki outboard. Beautiful little boat. I mean, it's a perfect boat for this lake up here. You run it all day on a tank of gas, not even. So it don't cost too much to run it, and it's light, and you can get in and out of tight spots and stuff.
You don't need a big boat?
No, not for these lakes. It's kind of like, unless you're going water skiing or something like that, gonna pull people around on rafts or something, then you might want a bigger boat. But this is perfect for me.
How long have you been out there? About 10 years now, would you say?
I've been out here steady since 2018, and when I stopped racing in 2015, I had to go back and forth to take care of some different matters. Like I had shares and brood mares and stallions and everything that I had to unload, and it took a couple years. I had to sell a place out there, so it took a couple years to. Well, I think it was the spring of 17. Yeah, I was pretty much tying loose ends up by the spring of 17 out there. So
Yeah. Well, since you've been out there, what's your favorite part about being in Montana? And would you recommend it a place for somebody to kick back?
only if they like, fresh air, being away from the cities and the metropolitan areas, and likes to hunt, fish, hike, do things like that, then I would recommend it highly. But if you still want to go out dancing or to the fine restaurants and just be at the store in 2 minutes, this isn't the place for you. You know, like a lot of people, they think this is. I had visitors come out, and I think they feel like they're in the wilderness right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind of, and they're so used to being in the cities that looking out the window and seeing a big beautiful mountains kind of scares them a little bit. But I can understand how they feel, because I feel that way when I'm in a city and I look up and I see a big, huge building. You know what I mean? That kind of gives me the creeps. Where I guess the mountains give a lot of people feel the same way. So
yeah, so definitely fresh air out there. So what's your favorite thing about being in Montana, if you had to summarize it?
the tranquility, the peace and quiet, the fresh air, the clean waters. Like, you could go to most any stream and drink right out of it. You don't have to worry about toxins and chemicals being in there. And even though I don't do it, I'd always use a filter of some sort. But you could if you wanted to. The wildlife, the local people here, they're as honest as they come. You know what I mean? Very honest. Lots of good people out here. The cowboys and these cowgirls and these old ranchers, they're do anything for you as long as you're honest with them. You're good to them; they'll do anything for you.
Yeah.
Most of the folks out here are Christians. You don't get a lot of foreigners coming through here. I mean, you'll see the parks. They'll visit the parks like Yellowstone and Glacier, but you don't see them here on a regular basis. Like, they don't live here. Not that I have anything against them. It's just
tourism.
Yeah, they come through as tourists. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you had a fantastic career in harness racing, and 2026 is the 20-year anniversary of the wave, the Ron Pierce wave. That's one of my favorite races, by the way.
Yeah.
And is there looking back, you won 3 or 4 Hambos, 3 or 4 Little Brown Jugs, maybe 3 or 4 Meadowlands Paces, and the same with the Breeders' Crown. Is there any races, either one of those or any other races, that would be your favorite race, or a couple races when you look back down memory lane for, reminiscing?
Yeah, I think, I enjoyed winning those 2000 clangers. Not that I was in that many of them. For those people that were having a hard time feeding the kids and having a hard time making ends meet, as I did winning those major races. Sure, the major races are nice because there's more money, and it's but I enjoyed winning lots of races for, I guess you could say, the people that needed the money the most. The people that when they got to the winner's circle, they were so happy that they would cry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think winning to those trainers and all was just as satisfying for me as it was winning those $1 million races for those the richer owners.
Yeah, that you picked up a couple of thousand for that guy, that little guy. Probably meant more than a $200,000 race.
Exactly.
For the bigger guy, it probably could have meant a lot more, actually. Like you said.
Because I was born and raised in the harness sports business, I grew up with a lot of people I wound up racing for. You know what I mean? Like we were walking around as kids together. Like most all the top guys that I wound up racing for and racing against, I knew them when I was before I even when I was still a young teenager or younger. So I was thinking about that, where it was just kind of funny how everything fell into place with me and the people that grew up around me. We all wound up making out pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny how that turned out like that. But
back in the era of Ron Pierce, John Campbell, Billy O'Donnell, which I thought was cool. When I called you, you said you was talking to Billy O. Something historic that you were part of that era.
Yeah, and then before I came along, you had the Carmines, you had the Herveys, the Dokies, the Chapmans. It was the Keith Waples, guys, Joe O'Brien, guys like that. That were just
yeah.
So I think
the Carmine, the Carmine, and Hervey, they rolled it there for a little bit early.
Till Mike got town, till a chance come over, and then he threw like a pretty good wrench into there.
Yeah,
he made him work a little harder for it, but yeah, we've had some great racing over the years, and the racing back then was more fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we could do a lot of different things to win a race back then. You know what I mean? You could actually, go out there all you had to do is get the favorite beat and you could win the race yourself. Well, now you try to, it's changed so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it got to where the last year I raced, I'm on top, quarter in 27-3 at Pocono. I went to second quarter in 28-1. And because the idiot that was trailing in the field ran up over the horse in front of him, just at the 3/8, I won the race and they took me down. They said I jammed up the field going a quarter in 28-1. You know what I mean? I think the judges, they took a lot of the strategy away from the drivers. Like they just wanted us to roll everything in every race to go nice and smooth. You know what I mean? They didn't want you using any tricks to beat anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think they took that aspect away from the drivers, and it wasn't nearly as much fun to just have to go out there and roll every night. Like, I used to love to be first up with the horse to beat on my back or two back behind me or locked in along the rail. You know what I mean? I just ride out there, and I used to. I would like to step the horse up a little bit, and then the guys behind me would start chasing to keep up. And then I used to back into them and then sprint away from them. I won 1,000 races like that. And the judges, they stopped the last couple of years I was racing. They stopped me from doing it. They said it's dirty pulling. You can't do that no more. They took a lot of the fun away from it, or you couldn't drive your race to keep the horse you had to beat locked in anymore. You had to go on down the track, and so he could get out and beat you. You know what I mean? It was just, I think the judging really kind of turned me off the last couple of years I raced.
Yeah, definitely understand that. Through the years, I've often wondered if they realize that there's video evidence for every decision they made,
Yeah.
and why they would, watch that. And to what you're saying about the judges, and you get on top and you sneak a 28-second quarter in there. Because I got a gambling buddy that talks about this, and I ask him, I'm like, well, who's at fault here? I mean, the guy that's stealing the quarter, or stealing the eighth, maybe, or the person that's sitting behind. Like, everybody has steering,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's strategy. They're always trying to keep it even for whoever's following.
I think if the guy on top can go 3-second quarter and get away with it, better for him. Good for him. Yeah, it's up to the guys behind. Pull that right line.
Let the strategy be with the drivers, not the judges, right?
Right. And if that idiot sitting last, that has the handholds in his lap, runs up over the horse in front of him, well, that's his fault. It's not the guy cutting him off. And you put those handles where you stop him. But like a lot of the top guys now, that's where they're so different than we were back in the day. It's like they just kind of got to sit there and point them. There's no stopping and going and stopping and going. There's like, it's more of just a speed thing.
Yeah.
But I remember like, that's what Carmine and Hervey and LeChamps and O'Donnell, God, when I was coming up myself as a young driver, those guys had so many dirty tricks up their sleeve, and they'd win 1,000 races because of it. It was just, they were just so good, you know what I mean? But then the judges took away all our tricks, the way and it wasn't nearly as much fun anymore.
Yeah, what I found through the years, that the judges wanted to be drivers. They would turn into the, you did this, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as we're going to move on here and close this out, what was your last big race that you won, that you remember, the last big one?
I think it was at the end of 215 with Sweet Lou there. What's that big race they have?
Dan Patch?
No, it was in the broadcasting company put it on, the TVG or something. A couple $100,000.
Okay, yeah.
With Sweet Lou. I had, the last year I raced, I had Sweet Lou, Horse and Pacer of the year, and then I had Shake It Carrie. She was Trotter of the year. And that's another reason I backed out when I did. I decided, who backs out, who quits racing after having both the Trotter of the year and the Pacer of the year and Horse of the year? You know what I mean? Nobody's did that before, I don't think. So, and how could I top it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a driver, you're not going to top it. So I decided, I didn't want to go out like so many of the other guys that have been tops in their day, where they wound up, sticking around and hoping they would get a drive here and there.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be like that. So I kind of went out at the top.
And I was thinking about you a little bit after we got off the phone yesterday. You retired when you still are able to enjoy the Montana life, is what I'll call it. And just anybody that's viewing, if you watch the show, the Madison, even as well as they deliver it, it's still 10 times better in person. And you retired when you still had opportunity to enjoy all of this way of life out there.
Yeah, but I kind of would have been nice to retire a little bit earlier, though. So
Yeah.
enjoy this more. Like if I went up this mountain here today, if I went up that mountain today, and I've been up there a couple times, but if I went up there today, then because of my age, I would have to sit around all day tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would sting me pretty good. It would. But if I would have did it 20 years ago, I would have been fine for tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
if I had to do over again, I would work as hard, but I'd save more money. Right? I'd save more money, and I wouldn't work as long. I'd tire sooner. Then I'd come out.
Yeah.
So, but
You know,
life's good.
yeah. When I was out there, I was at 7,000 feet, I think, down in West Yellowstone. And so about the 2-week mark, I started feeling like I was short of breath. And you start talking about going up on the mountain, and it took me 2 days to figure it out. I had this altitude,
Sickness.
I don't want to call it sickness. Yeah. And I didn't know there was bottles of oxygen you could have, to help you out. And I wasn't about to pass out, but I noticed I could notice my breathing just wasn't feeling as well. So if you go up on a mountain today, you're going to probably, if you climb it, you'll have to take a day to recover, is what you're saying.
It depends. Mountains like that, yeah. If I just, if there was a nice trail going up, like there's a trail going up there too, but I always go right up. But yeah, if it's a tough hunt today or tough hike today, I need a day to recover. Like a racehorse needs some time off after a race to get his strength back. Yeah, I'm kind of like the same way out here. And it seems like the older I get, the more time I need to recover. But that going up into the mountains like that, yeah, if you go right up to, same day, it'll make you, you'll get up there. I felt like I just want to go to sleep, lay down, take a long nap. But if you take a couple days to do it, to go up into the high country, it's not so bad. Your body's got to acclimate, adjust to it.
Now, it just made me think when we're talking about this, what do you do for food? Like preparing for food when you go up on a 2-day hike up into the high country, knowing there's bears, cats, and wolves up there, and coyotes.
Yeah, you just take
How do you plan? How do you plan it?
Well, you figure out how many meals you're going to have, and then you just take it with you, and then you always take some. You could always catch a trout or a rabbit or a pheasant. Those grouse are all over. If you want, if you need camp meat. But yeah, they have lots of different good foods that are freeze dried, where all you got to do is add boiling water. And, like the pack only weighs because it's dried, it only weighs not even half a pound, not even a quarter pound. If you know how to do it, you could eat good out there. You could always find food to eat out there, and that's what most of us do. You know what I mean? You're hiking along, you see a berry bush, you sit down and eat the berries, or you see watercress or whatever. There's little trouts in the creek. You want trout, you just catch them. There's all kinds of ways to eat.
Yeah.
And it's healthy food too.
Take those trips often?
Not so much this summer. I've been tied up a lot this summer, and that lake's kept me really busy. I have been up to the front like once for about 5 days, but I was planning. There's a river right by my house here called the Dearborn. I'm going to take it's 60 miles of trip I want to do on it this year. And I just need to have somebody drop me off up there. And I could either take a kayak or a raft. I'll probably do it in a little pontoon raft because I can carry more, and maybe take a few days to float it. And it'll bring me right down here to the end of my lane. 60 miles on the Dearborn up in right at the front is where I can pick it up. And then I could catch Missouri, running Missouri River right here, and then I'll float another, I guess, 4 miles down to my house, and I could take it out right here. So,
Wow.
I got some good neighbors. They could feed my animals for me while I'm doing stuff like that. But I usually do that a couple times a year. It's a really beautiful.
Yeah.
Fishing's good, and as long as the weather's good, you're going to enjoy it. Water's like crystal clear. You can see down there 20 feet.
Yeah, I got to get back out there some point or another. Not this year, but next year out to Montana. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up. Appreciate you coming on, and hope everything continues going well for you in this turn of your life. And I would have talked more about the horse racing, but I felt like I'm interested in this Ron Pierce's life where you're at now. The fun. It sounds so interesting.
Yeah, I got it really good. I mean, life is really good. I couldn't be happier. So
Yeah. And so maybe I'll see you when I come out there next year.
yeah, you're welcome at my campfire anytime.
Yeah.
I appreciate
it. And until I see you again, Ron, we'll see you.
You take care, and I'll tell your brother I said hi.
So the battle is on with 3/16 to go. Queen Serene on the inside. Passionate Glide trying to slingshot by. And these two are slugging it out toe-to-toe. It's Passionate Glide. Pierce waves bye-bye. And Passionate Glide will do it. Queen Serene back in second. Passionate Glide, a filly for the ages, takes the filly fraternity in 153.